This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
.115, this is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. The news edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Niranjan Abesundara. Some health services employees are engaged in a strike ignoring the public service. The triforces are engaged in providing the vaccines. The debate on the no-confidence motion against Minister Uday Gamampila on the 19th and 20th of this month. A decision on Wednesday to operate interprovincial bus services. A discussion of the representatives of the Tamil National Alliance was held in Jaffna yesterday. In world news, dozens killed in the Philippines military plane crash. 13 health service trade unions are engaged in an indefinite strike action from this morning. The unions said they decided to launch a strike against a move by the government to grant allowance and concessions only to nursing officers. Speaking to the media, Chairman of the Public Health Inspectors Union and Joint Supplementary Medical Services Providers Front, Upul Rohan, has said they were compelled to launch a strike since authorities failed to answer to their demands. Many obstructions were faced in the activities of hospitals and the vaccination program. Patients expressed their grievances in this regard and said this type of act is a black mark for the respect of the health authorities. They also point out the strike launched by them cannot be approved. Meanwhile, the army personnel are contributing greatly to carry out the vaccination program from today. An island-wide COVID vaccination program is being carried out in the country by the medical staff of the Triforces despite the ongoing health workers' strike. The President has advised to provide vaccines to all people in the country as the new variant of the COVID is spreading in the world speedily. Several teams of health workers are engaged in the strike to fulfill their narrow objectives by keeping the public as human shield. The Chief of the Triforce has expressed his view to the SLBC in this regard. Meanwhile, 1 million Sinopharm vaccines were arrived in the country and will be given to the public within the next few days. The objective is to vaccinate all people over 30 years of age in the Western Province. The hospitals of the Triforce have also joined in this task. These vaccines could be obtained from these hospitals from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. today and tomorrow as well. The Committee on Parliamentary Business chaired by Speaker Mahindra Pavevardhana decided to convene Parliament for 4 days starting from the 6th to the 9th of this month. Meanwhile, it has been decided the motion of no confidence against Minister Uday Gamampila will be taken up for debate in Parliament on the 19th and 20th. On June 16, several members of Parliament representing the Samik Janabalabegya signed a 10-point motion of no confidence against Energy Minister Uday Gamampila, citing the recent arbitrary increase in fuel prices. State Minister Thiru Mamargama said the final decision will be taken on the implementation of the Interprovincial Transport Service on Wednesday. Necessary advice will be sought from the National Centre of Corona Eradication. He also stated that stern action will be taken against the persons who are violating health guidelines when operating buses. This news broadcast comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.
Sri Lanka Insurance, like a father, like a mother.
A discussion was held yesterday with the participation of representatives of the Tamil National Alliance in Jaffna. The parties Ilengil Tamil Arskatchi, Plot and Tello joined in the discussion. More attention was paid on the problems of the Tamil people, including resettlement program. Attention was also focused on acting with the support of the political parties. Minister Mahindra Gamampila said new agricultural projects will be introduced for the youth entrepreneurs on estates. Organic chili cultivation has already been commencing on the 100 acres. The uncultivated lands on Galabar Estate of Janata Estate Development Board will be given to the youth for cultivation activities. Necessary facilities will also be given in this task. That was local news.
The largest bonus declared in the history of the Sri Lankan insurance industry. Sri Lanka Insurance grand bonus. An unmatchable bonus of 8.6 billion rupees only for Sri Lanka Insurance life policy holders from the nation's largest insurer. Call 0112 357 357 for more details. Sri Lanka Insurance, like a father, like a mother.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
State Minister Indika Aniruddha said that the finance needed to purchase COVID vaccine is found by minimizing unnecessary expenditure in the country. He said finance crisis was created in the country during the improper finance management of the good governance government period. That was the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
On to Watchlight, Minister Mahinda Amaravira said that although proposals were submitted to ban the use of plastic mats in Margot, there is a problem of obtaining necessary material for the local pang mats. When environment hazards have been created due to the use of plastic mats and Margot. It has also been revealed that these materials do not perish completely even in 1,000 years. He emphasized the need of enhancing the pang industry in order to propagate the use of local valued materials. Well, that came to in Watchlight. On to world news. Dozens killed in Philippine military plane crash. Indonesia faces oxygen crisis amid worsening COVID surge. Study says Indian dowry payments remarkably stable. 50 people have died and dozens more have been injured after a military plane crash in the Philippines. The Lockheed C-130 transport aircraft was carrying 96 people, mostly troops, when it overshot a runway at Jolo Airport in Sulu province yesterday. The soldiers were among reinforcements sent to combat Islamic militants such as the Abu Sayyaf group. The dead are mainly military personnel, but 3 civilians on the ground were also killed, the defense ministry said. 5 people were initially listed as missing, but all passengers on board have now been accounted for. Indonesia's government has ordered oxygen producers to prioritize medical need as a surge in COVID cases has led to shortages in a number of cities. Hospitals say they are struggling at the limit of their capacity, with one reporting that 63 patients died as they grappled with depleting oxygen. The country is currently recording more than 25,000 new cases every day. The crisis is attributed to increased travel and more contagious Delta variant spreading through the country. Dowry payments in India's villages have been largely stable over the past few decades, a World Bank study has found. Researchers looked at 40,000 marriages that took place in rural India between 1960 and 2008. They found that dowry was paid in 95% of marriages, even though it had been illegal in India since 1961. The practice, often described as a social evil, continues to thrive and leaves women vulnerable to domestic violence and even death. And back to the headlines of the world news. Dozens killed in Philippine military plane crash. Indonesia faces oxygen crisis amid worsening COVID surge. Study says Indian dowry payments remarkably stable. Development news. Tea cultivation farmers should pay attention to enhance the quality of the soil. The soil should be preserved by implementing new methods. Therefore, the quantity of fertilizer used for the tea cultivation could be minimized considerably. Measures to be taken to upgrade the tea industry and the harvest as well. That came to you in development news. On to sports news. Denmark and England will face the semi-final match of the Euro 2020 football tournament at Wembley Stadium tomorrow. If England team wins the match, it will be a special day for football fans after the year 1966. Spain and Italy will play for the other semi-final rounds. Mitchell Starc is prepared to improvise to give himself the best chance of being ready for Test cricket, but the schedule crunch is further complicated by the quarantine requirements in Australia. Starc is one of Australia's multi-format players who could be impacted by the very right turnaround between the T20 World Cup and start of the home Test season against Afghanistan in Hobart. That was Sports News.
Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply. Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
Nearly $50 million worth of personal cargo shipped by Sri Lankan expatriate workers perished with the sinking of the MV Express Pearl vessel, and no steps have been taken to compensate for these losses. Club Business Associations said in addition to these personal effects, some of the sunk cargo also included beauty products, perfumes and other such items bound for PETA merchants. Most of the cargo perished in the sea was sent from the employees who are working in the Gulf and other regions. Meanwhile, it has been reported that 30% of salaries of the majority of workers at the main business institute in Colombo have been cut. That was Business News.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money. Contributory deposit of 1,000 rupees from NSB when your child enters grade 1. Open a Hapan Children's Service account for your kid today. Higher interest. Conditions apply.
Economic News, courtesy of
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibility. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Air France airline is scheduled to commence flights from November to Sri Lanka. Accordingly, flights will be operated via Maldives 3 days a week. France is the 5th country arriving with more tourists to Sri Lanka. Therefore, France's airline has decided to implement their aviation services to Sri Lanka. That is Economic News.
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
Met Department says showers or thunder showers will occur at times in the western, Sabaragamuwa, northwestern and southern provinces and in the Kandy and Noorali districts. And fairly heavy showers about 100 millimeters can be expected some places elsewhere. Short thunder showers may occur several places elsewhere in the evening or night. That was the weather report.
Weather Report was sponsored by
Dialogue, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, introduces Nanasa, a trilingual educational mobile app with video-based lessons for grade 1 to A-levels. Now your child can study with ease on your mobile with no subscription fee.
Back to the headlines of the news. Some health service employees are engaged in a strike ignoring the public service. Triforces are engaged in providing the vaccines. The debate on the no-contest motion against Minister Udaya Gamampila will be on the 19th and 20th of this month. A decision on Wednesday to operate interprovincial bus services. A discussion of the representatives of the Tamil National Alliance was held in Jaffna yesterday. In world news, dozens killed in Philippine military plane crash. That in the news.